Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we're in Masechtas Yevamot, daf Chav Tes. We're going to begin on Chav Chesam and Beis by the Mishnah. Shlosh Achen. So we have a case of three brothers, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Shnai mehen nesuin shtei achayos. As we've been discussing, a similar theme, but instead of having four brothers, here's three. But two of them are married to sisters. Obviously, they're an erva to one another. If you're married to a sister, you can't marry the other sister. Or for that matter, o ishu bita, let's say one of the brothers is remarried to the woman's mother, and the other one's the daughter. O ishu bas bita, one's married to a woman, and the other one's married to her granddaughter. O ishu bas bina, same thing. So in this situation, we say, as we've been saying all along, we want chalitza to take place. We don't want yibum to take place. And l'chayr, it's the same idea, is that if we allow this first person to do, in this case, there's only one brother, so certainly it's an issue because of achasukukaso, that if he ends up doing yibum with one, so the other one is also zakuk to him. She's zakuk through the sister, and because of, let's say, zika, so that strong connection doesn't allow him to do yibum with her. However, Rav Shimon poiter. Now, Rav Shimon here says that in this situation, this man does not have to do chalitza even, and certainly not yibum, with either of these two sisters, which again is a tremendous chiddush. We'll see the reason why. Ha'isa achas mehen asura olav iser erva. Let's say, not what we're talking about, two sisters. Let's say Reuven, the one remaining live brother, is an erva to Shimon's wife, but not Levi's wife. So he's obviously usher to her, but he's mutter to the sister, to this other woman. Even though, again, they may be related, but in this situation, there's an iser erva, so usher bo mutter bachosa. Isser mitzvah, Isser kedusha, chalotzes lomis yevamos. In the event that the link is an Isser Rabbanan, so again we only allow chalitza. So Tanya Shimon poite b'shnein min a chalitza min a yibum, which is a tremendous chiddush. That again, if you have three brothers, two of them died, and they were married to these sisters, so he doesn't have to do even chalitza with them. Why not? Because the pasuk says Shnemar v'isha el chosa v'osikach sror. In a situation where they are both zakuk to this man, so there's no lekuch in a field of achsmehen. So in this situation, he doesn't have to do even chalitza to either one. That's how he reads up this pasuk. Again, the situation is there was two brothers that were married to two sisters, so it's not that these two sisters were married to the same man, obviously, because that's usher. But nonetheless, since they both fell to yibum, the din is, since he can't marry both of them, none of them, there's no lekuchen for either of them. It's the same case. We'll have Shimon Israch. We said that no chalitza or yibum is done, so since he says in a normal situation he doesn't require anything, he said maybe it should be goyes when it comes to a generic case of two sisters. Says Rashi, afagav the hanami mereisha shaminan hasam hul rabbanul gazrinan. Even though it's true that we could derive, according to Rabbanan, we're not geyser. The inami asil mishri achayos the alma. Even if you matter these sisters, leika el iser achasakuka the Rabbanan. The whole connection is only achasakuka, because one of the two sisters are both zakuk. Although Rav Shimon dir iser achasakuka erva gemura. Rav Shimon holds that's mamish in erva gemura, as we saw in the pasuk. That's the reason why they're completely potter. Hidrachmana potter of a kaimol alei beiser eishas ach. Therefore, it's almost like you're married. So it's a din of eishas ach. Ligzar heichad yachosa sura misham erva. So maybe we should be geyser in a case where the sister's usher out erva, v'lo zakukale, and she's not zokak, v'lema lo yavim lachosa, the lo leisili yavumi achazakuka de alma. So, because otherwise maybe there'll be an issue of achazakuka in general. Kamash Shimon, we're not geyser. Itzer mitzvah, as we continue to Chav Testament Aleph, Abaham Rav Shimon Shtei Chayos. He said, when it comes to the case of two sisters, Yevamos, says Rashi, B'hacha amai boy chalitza. So why over here is chalitza necessary? Hakivanda b'deraisa chazli avume zakukahi. Since midiraisa she's zokuk, v'haviluhu kashar beis achayos shenasu sar zolazu. Rav Shimon paiter achos zakuka chalitza. Now Rav Shimon holds it's pater chalitza. So what's the din? So gzer mishum Isser mitzvah de alma. The issue is that when it comes to Isser mitzvah, not when it comes to two sisters, but just stam Isser mitzvah, we're concerned of that. So what does that mean? Says Rashi, I pateras l'hula gamri. If we pater her completely from even chalitza, mandachazi savar taimula misham achazakuka. The reason why she's pater from chalitza is not because of achazakuka, no misham de Isser mitzvah. They may think it's because, there's an Isser Mitzvah over here. And Isser Mitzvah has the same din of Ereva, and therefore it's pater from Chalitza in all cases. The Yasal Mifter Isser Mitzvah de Alma Lav Achoyos Mechalitza. So you would think, maybe according to him, the reason why you're pater from Chalitza because he holds Achasakuka is actually din deraisas than Ereva. However, because there's also Isser Mitzvah, so people are going to think the reason why it's pater from Chalitza is because of Isser Mitzvah, and then they're going to end up not doing Chalitza in any case of Isser Mitzvah, even if there's no sisters involved, which of course certainly everyone holds you need to do Chalitza. And that's the reason why he'll require Chalitza in this case as well. Question 14. Rav Shimon dishtei achayos lo chaltzos lo mesiyavamos midaraisa. So the madinam kishahaisa achs mehen asura be'isser mitzvah. If one of the sisters. So in that case he requires chalitza, because he paters with gamri. If that would happen, a person would make a mistake because of isser mitzvah, and they would say it's ke'erva, v'asil mifter isser mitzvah ba'alma de'achayisa mishum didah. Okay. So that was question 14. Okay. So the Gemara says, Hatinach ihi. I can understand her. Achaysa ma'ikol meimar. Gezerah chaysa mishum latedidas. Or geysers. I have a hagabi ervel gazrinan. So shani erva de migmar gemirula inshi v'kol isla. Says Rashi. V'hagabi ervel gazrinan. So v'loyam rinan tachlates erva gzer mishum achaysa shein erva. So he says the migmar gemirula inchi. V'akol yoidim shein tzrich chalitza. Even though you don't need chalitza. V'achaysa lav achos akukihi. V'asil mishri achaysa bol chalitza. Avol erva denasu tsaros Rav Shimon lo. The kol lo lo. Kol yalma gemiri hachos the iser shtehem shavos. Okay. So let's continue now with the next Mishnah. Okay. Let's put this away. Next Mishnah. Shloisha Achet. So then again, you have three brothers. Shnayim nesuin shtei achoyos. Again, similar case. You have two sisters that were married to two of these brothers. Now, there was three brothers. Ve'echad mufna, and one is single. Means he's not married. So meisachad me bali achoyos. So let's say one of his brothers dies. So at that moment, he could have done Yibum at that moment because she was the only one. Yosabo Mufna Maimer. But instead he did Kedushi Duraban of Kedushi Maimer. V'yachach Meis Achar Hasheni. Now all of a sudden, he didn't do Yibum, but so she wasn't his wife yet, but he only did this Maimer. Question is the strength of what is Maimer, and all of a sudden his other brother dies. And now his other wife is supposed to do Yibum, but the problem is they're sisters. So Meishamir Ishto Imoi. So according to the Shita Beis Shammai, he holds that Maimer is very strong. Apparently, we'll see how strong it is, and therefore he could actually say this is his wife, to the extent that the other sister, who later on became a widow, can leave. because he did mimer, so therefore that's strong enough. It's almost like he's married to her, and therefore, obviously, you just can't do anything with her because you can't marry her sister. Actually, no. What we're going to require you to do is we're going to make you leave this relationship, the one that you did mimer with. You're going to have to give her a get, as well as chalitza. And now the second woman, you also have to do chalitza. So because you were ambitious to do mimer, but you didn't complete this act, so therefore you end up losing out completely. Zuhi she'amru oilo al ishtov oilo al eshes achiv. Woe is it to the wife and to your brother's wife. Because in this situation, it turns out that you're not able to remain married to her, and you're not able to marry the other one either. TB 14. Al ezem mikra amr beis Hillel b'mishnah oilo al ishtov oilo al eshes achiv. So shloish achim shnayim nesuin beis achoyos ve'echad mufna meis echad mebali achoyos yasaba mufna maimer ve'achach meis echad hasheni, which is again is exactly the case of the Mishnah. The Farish Mishnah was that question. Okay. Weiter. So zuhili mutemai. It says this is a situation where we say oilo al ishta oilo al eshes achiv. So that must be coming to exclude something. So what is that coming to exclude? Zuhil mutimai mute hacht Rav Yeshua delay avdinan kivase. That it's regarding Rav Yeshua that we don't hold like him. What does Rav Yeshua say? If we go to Rashi, beperek beishamai dekarminami ilo al ishto. Eloi al eshes achim v'pligla Rabbi Gamliel Rabbi Lezer. So on this there was he says in the machlokas el ik Rabbi Gamliel ik Rabbi Lezer, either like the shita of Rabbi Gamliel or Rabbi Lezer. So fine. So he did mimer on this is referring to he did mimer on a katana, then her older sister falls to yibum in that situation. So Amr Rabbi Lezer lo tema maimer lebeishamai kaina kinyan gamor. Don't tell me that this case is that it's mamish like a kinyan gamor. It's like his wife regarding all matters, and therefore all he has to do is give her a get. No, the boy lafuki sagila begita. No, chalitza is also necessary in the event that he wishes to release her. El maimer lebeishamai inu kaina el lidches bitsara. What, according to Beishami, holds is the mimer strong enough that it basically frees away the woman, so the other sisters, there's no longer an issue of achasuku kasai. Because if it's achasuku kaso, then you can't marry her. But in this case, we do allow, since you did mimer, so we're going to allow you to continue if you were married. Kalaimer says Rashi lidchas achaisa shol tesren lazu mishum achasakuka. So again, even though mimer is not like a kinyan gomer, but it's enough that now that the second sister becomes a widow, so in that her husband dies, so we don't say, oh, she's zakuk to you, and this is the sister that is zakuk to you, so therefore it's like an ereva. We don't say it's achazuku kaso because you already moved in a certain direction, at least according to Beis Shammai. Amar Rabbi Avin. Afanam nami tanina. We also learn this in our Mishnah. He says that yikaimu in l'chatchila lo. Says Rashi, im kanmu b'kansu. It means that if he initiated, this is actually not in our case. Rashi says it's bereish pirkin. The beginning, when I talked about the case of the four brothers, that two fell to the two other brothers. So in that case, you need to get in chalitza. So we didn't want one of the brothers to end up marrying or doing yibum, because then maybe if the other brother dies, then when that woman died, or that woman is now, and now you can't do yibum with her because it's a achasuku kasai. That's why l'chatchila lo. So again, we see a raya that at least it pushes it off from the notion that it does push off Fitzara. That's what happened over here as well, that it would push her off, that you would no longer have to worry about the other sister. The other sister's free to go. Now it's an interesting taisvis. This is Beis Shammai Ishto ishto imo, that's your wife. Rashi said, and then says oilo al ishto. So Taisus says oilo ki hachim mishum roilo mashma lashon sar kolomar roilo lehitstaer. It's fit that you should be in pain. Shehifsid ishto blo pishiyaso, that you are mafsid in this situation. You lost out blo pishiyaso, without any wrongdoing. V'hacha, fine. Weiter. Okay, so let's continue now with Chavtes Amud Beis. Now, v'yisal chataitach maimer lebei shami kaina kinyan gomor. So the question, again, when you have the four brothers, so we're not haven't explained it completely yet. But the question is, if Beis Shammai hold that it's a kinyan gomor, then we should say like this. By the case of the four brothers, Zeh Yasa Maimer V'yikna, Zeh Yasa Maimer V'yikna. Why do we say that they have to both do chalitza? And we say l'chatchila, one of them shouldn't do yibum. Why don't they just both do maimer on each respective woman, and therefore there's no issue of achas ukukaso? Elo mai doiche dechia gemura. It just means it's a dechia gemura. Zeh Yasa Maimer V'yidcha, Zeh Yasa Maimer V'yidcha. So 1 second. Even if you want to tell me it's a total dechia, it could still give that eitzah. Maimer should still work, so that suggestion should still be offered. Over there, Maimer de hatera dachi diasuru dachi. So hachanami Maimer. Okay, so when do we say that Maimer pushes it off? It's in the situation like our Mishnah. That what? There was beheter. Says Rashi, Maimer shenas beheter. Dei havi boy levumi b'shas Maimer havi matzah levumi. Ki go masnisan. Our Mishnah, yedain lo nafla chosa. They didn't both become widows at the same time. One man died, so at that moment you could have done yibum. Instead, you decided to do Maimer. So that was beheter. So in that situation, that's why the Maimer will work. That now that the second man dies, his wife is off, according to Beis Shammai, and you can continue and marry the woman you did Maimer with, because it's done beheter. However, the case of the four brothers was be'isser, because at that moment, if you would have done yibum, or you did yibum, which is not l'chatchila, or if you did Maimer, they were both available. And since they were both available in that Mishnah, because it says Rashi, it was done before the Maimer, so it's be'isser, and that's the reason why it will work. Hachanami Maimer afiluman di'amar Maimer kaina kini gomer Maimer dehater kani de'isser lo kani. Ravashi masni hachi Amar Reishla Amar Belezer lo tema Maimer leBeis Shammai dachi dechi gemura. Don't tell me it's a complete pushing off. V'tzara sachalitza namlo boy. And that means that the tzara, the second woman, you don't have to even do chalitza, which is how we thought that's what it meant. El doicha mishayerhu. It pushes, but it's mishayir. Says Rashi, according to this, the boy chalitza. In basli nase, if you want to marry this one woman you did Maimer with, actual kanas hayavim is balas a Maimer. So, if let's say the one who did Maimer, if he wants, he still chalitza needs to be done for this other woman. If it completely pushes her off, same point. The four brothers, two of them died. Shimon and Levi died. Reuben and Yehuda are alive, and Shimon and Levi have wives who each one were sisters. So we say each one should only do chalitza. Let them do Maimer. Ve'ela ha katani Beis Shammai amrim ishtu ima v'halizu teis mishemachos isha. So according to our Mishnah, you don't need to do chalitza either. El Yevamot dechazil kuhu. When it comes to a Yevamot that was fit to everyone, even the Yavam chazil miksasa. Yavam do chazil kuhu chazil miksasa. So in that situation, Maimer won't reject her. Fine. Boy Rabba Maimer leBeis Shammai nesunaisa or erusunaisa. So the question is, what is Maimer? Mimer on some level, it looks like kedushin, like erison, but does it have the strength of erison only, or does it have the strength of nesuin? So Amar Le'Abaye Lamai Hilchasa Ilema Yarsha, to inherit her. Tamala, if you're a Kohen, Lahaifa Nidareha, to be made for her Nidarim that a husband can do, Hashta. Arusa be'alma tani rabchia ishto arusa oinimo matamula v'chein hilo mo oineslo metamislei. So even when it comes to a regular case of marriage, of kedushin, so there is no Kohen at that stage cannot become tummy for her. It has to be his wife at b'shas nesuin. And Mace, if she dies enu yorsha, he doesn't inherit her. Mesu goybik subasa, she collects her ksuba. Ovid ba mimer miboy. So mimer, which is din derabanan, it's not like kedusha deraisa. So certainly, so l'chayra, when it comes to these things, for sure it's a davar pashut that mimer will not accomplish that. They'll inyan masir l'chuppah. The question is, what is the requirement of being masira l'chuppah? That is the question. So nisuin oisa v'loboy misir chuppah, if it's considered like nisuin, so you don't have to bring her to a chuppah. Or dilma erison oisa uboy misir chuppah. So amli hashda loy avid ba mimer. And now, let's say he didn't do mimer. Ksiv Yevamot yavo bal karcha. So we know that there is a din, unlike kedusha bia, there is a din of yibam bal karcha. So avid ba mimer miboy. So why would you even think in this case you need chuppah? Says Rashi, Di'im bol leha karcha. If you're boil on her bal karcha, below chuppah, kani. V'i boy su lafuki begita sagula. If let's say you want to divorce her, you only need is a get. You don't do chalitz anymore. So l'chayra, it should be a davar pashut that you don't need chuppah. Amle shani omer kol oisa maimer bi'avimto, because once you did maimer, parchmin of zika yevamot, the zika of yevamot kind of removes the chola has zika's erison. In other words, the fact that you decided to, instead of doing the yibam route, you decided to do a kedushin route. Now all of a sudden it takes upon itself that din of a yibam route, and therefore because of a kedushin route, and therefore maybe you do need chuppah like a kedushin. So tashma, shemer yavam. So you have a woman whose husband died, and she's childless, and she's zakuk. Bein yavam echad, bein shnei yavam. It doesn't matter if there's one or two living brothers. Rabbi Lezer oimer yafer. Rabbi Lezer says, at that stage, either one of them could annul her vows. Rabbi Shua oimer le'echad v'lo l'shnayim. The only time is if there's one brother, because it's definite he's the one that's going to do yibam b'chalitza, but not if there's two. Rabbi Kiva oimer lo echad lo shnayim. Rabbi Kiva says no, it doesn't make any difference. Even if you only have one brother, he cannot be made for her nidar. So Bavina boy asks a question. Bishlam Rabbi Kiva, he makes sense. Savar ein zika of yilchad. He holds it's not such a strong connection, and the fact that she's zakuk, we hold ein zika, and therefore it's not strong enough for him to be made for her nidarim. Rabbi Yeshua lachad yesh zika l'trei ein zika. According to Rabbi Yeshua, who says a distinction between 1 and 2, he says it depends. Again, if there's one brother, then that's yesh zika. If there's two, there's no zika, and that's why they can't do it, because you don't know who it is. Rabbi Lezer nihinam d'ksav yesh zika. I understand that he holds yesh zika. So bishlam l'chad mefer elotrei amai. So why would we say that either one could do it? It's talking about a situation where one of them did mimer. In other words, we're talking about the one brother who did mimer. That mimer allows him to be made for the darim. Now, al-khayr, we already said that doesn't work. But if mimer actually is like nesuin, mishum hachi mefer. El iyamr erison osa, so heichi matzi mefer. How could he be made for her if it's only like erison? But tanad nar hamurasa. When it comes to a woman who had only an erison, aviu bal mefer nidareha. You need both of them. You need the husband and the father to be made for nidarim. So obviously we see the fact that he could be made for nidarim must be that it has the status of nisuin. No, my mefer b'shutvus. it's not necessarily a raya. Maybe it means that he could be mefer together with the father, just like the din of an orus. It's not a raya. According to Rabbi Lezer, who holds that the whole point of Maimer just kind of frees up the other sister later on, am I mefer, right? This yibum, how do we allow him to do mefer? How to be mefer the nadarim, right? The yibum shouldn't be able to do this at all. Beshutvas. So Malach Rabbi Lezer, Eimer Diamra na enu kaina el lidchais letzar bavad, doit sagle begita, el boina machlitza. I was just saying that it's not strong enough that it's like a regular marriage that all you need to do is give a get, but you also need to give chalitza. However, l'hafar nidarim yamrinan. I didn't say anything about being made for nidarim, so maybe it's true that even to be made for nidarim, that does work. The mimer is strong enough. V'boy seima, or another answer. Amalach Rabbi Lezer, Rav Nachman Rabbi Yitzchak minicha. According to him, is it good? Mikatani yaferu, yafer katani. He doesn't say that they do it; it says that he does it. So it's mashma not b'shutvus. Elahacha ma'askinan she'amda b'din. It must be they went to court. Upaskul mezainis mishalo, and he already designated giving money, giving mazonos. Ukra Pinchas mishmei Rabbi, the Rab Pinchas mishmei Rabbi, kol hanoideres al das bala hi noideres. Anytime a woman makes a neder, it's al das baila. So he didn't do anything, but since he's giving her mazonos due to her complaints to Beis Din, so he and only he can be made for the nedarim, but not because of Maimer. It has nothing to do with Maimer. It's because of Kol HaNoderes al Das Bala Hi Noderes. And the fact that he started being Posku Lo Mazonos, that he started providing for her food, says Rashi, Kidemela B'Hachaylitz, Almad Bedin. They stood in court, Ubarach Nizoinus Mishal Yavam, they start giving food to Mahash the Balhu. From that moment, he's like the husband. Yal Daito Noderes Almanas Yurtza. And therefore it's on him. And therefore he's the one that can be made from the Darm. So therefore we really don't have a raya either way. What the koyach of Maimer is it Kedushin or is it Nesuin? Okay, let's look at question 2. Let's see question 2. Yevama shenafel lefnei shnei Yevamim. So Yevama who fell in front of 2 men. Ha'im echad mehen o shneihem mafir nidareha. So this is basically a 3-way machlokas. Let's see how he answers it. Lamandi Omer ein zika ein mafir. Lamandi Omer yesh zika b'shnayim mafir and shneihem b'yachad. Okay, so that's again the basic machlokas as we said over here. Whether we hold yesh zika or ein zika, and maybe we can be machal between 1 or 2. Okay. Adkan.